My name is April. I'm 51 years old and I recently gave up everything to live in a camper full time. Today I'm going to tell you all about how I got my camper on the road, the fears I had about doing this, and stay tuned to the end for a book recommendation. I've never rightfully owned and operated a camper before, so I'm not kidding when I tell you that it has been terrifying. Not just because it's my first time, but for all the things that I don't know about hauling a camper. Like, is my 14-year-old truck going to be able to handle it? Will I be able to handle the truck over 50 miles an hour with the camper swaying in the wind? I live in Denver, so I wonder, can my truck reasonably handle steep terrain to take it to dispersed camping sites? And all of these things I have to find out through experience, and hopefully nothing bad happens. And the learning curve has been really steep. For one, I'm terrified of operating the propane anything on the camper, which means that I don't currently have a fridge. I lived with a family where the father figure worked in propane.
The salesman of propane and propane accessories.
And he terrified me with all of the things that can happen and cause an explosion. So I am very reluctant to work anything on this camper that has propane. I don't know anything about filling or emptying any of the tanks on it. I mean, how long does it take to fill a black tank? How do I empty it? I don't know. I know that the camper has a battery on it, but how does that interact with my car battery? I don't know, but hopefully I don't learn any lessons about that the hard way. I also bought a solar power station to kind of keep things going in the camper, and I don't really know how that thing works either. Luckily, I live in a very sunny state, so I'll have at least some opportunity every day to charge it up. We'll see how that goes. Luckily, June and July are the slowest months of the year in my Etsy shop. So that gives me a little bit of time to figure out how to make this sewing machine work in the camper. Before I could even get the camper on the road, I first had to have a towing package installed on my truck. It's capable of towing, but it didn't come with a hitch. And the only thing that I knew about hitches was that U-Haul could do it. So I took it to U-Haul, I told them that I was going to be hauling a camper, and I got the wrong equipment. It took a total of 3 visits to 3 different locations to actually get the equipment that I needed to haul a camper. And let me tell you, $1,000 was way too much to spend getting a hitch installed. And then before I took the camper on the road, there were a few things that I wanted to do on the inside. And the very first thing that I did was take off the bathroom door. That's because it was a little clumsy in this small space to have this, door opening and closing. And it had this mirror on the front of it that was kind of freaking me out. So I took the door off and I found a shower curtain because it's a wet bath. I found a shower curtain at the thrift store, pretty cheap. I decided to take the top off of it and then customize it to fit in the bathroom door, and it's working out pretty good. Also, in the process of looking at decorative items, I found some drawer pulls that matched the hardware that was already in the camper, and they were on sale, so I went ahead and purchased them. It was 4 knobs, which was just enough to replace the mismatched knobs that were in here. I also wanted to replace the coat hanger that was in here. It was like a Dollar Tree special. And I found one that matched the hardware, and it was just the right amount of hooks. So I went ahead and installed that on the closet door. And I also bought a closet door pull, but I don't have the right hardware to actually install it, so that's gonna have to wait. The next thing I had to do was create more storage area where the bed was. So when I purchased the camper, the bed was about a full size. It's in the area where there originally in the camper was a dinette set. So I took that out and I used the pieces that were already there to create a elevated bed. So in order to do that, I had to cut the mattress down, and I made a new cover for that. And then I used some wood to build it up with some storage underneath. Now I had to find wood that was lightweight and durable, so I went to Home Depot and I found what's called blue pine. And I really like this wood. Not only does it have a neat color variation, but it also has like bug holes in it to give it some character. So I built up the bed 13 inches higher than it was before, and now I have storage underneath the bed. I'm using that for some of the supplies that I need for my shop. I still have the dinette on the side that was mostly original to the camper, and eventually I'm going to do something with that too, but it wasn't absolutely necessary, so it hasn't been done yet. Eventually I would like to also create some new window treatments and replace these blinds, because I feel like they make this Twinkie a lot hotter than it needs to be, because they're metal and they reflect the sunlight. They kind of absorb the sunlight and they get really hot. So eventually I'll create some window treatments in here. I'm just not sure what kind of hardware I need to do what I want to do. And of course I want to put up a backsplash, but that's going to wait too, because I need to find the right type of vinyl tiles in the right style. So, and eventually I'm going to paint the outside of it too, but again, it's not necessary, so that can wait. By far, I think the hardest part of this entire journey was giving up my plants. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I have been nurturing a bunch of perennials that I had intended to give a permanent home on a piece of land, because honestly, the whole purpose of this transition was to find a piece of land to put my camper on so that I could start a homestead. I'm going to do another video about why that hasn't happened yet. It's a whole story. But I have been, especially since the pandemic, I've been nurturing grapes and berries and trees and all kinds of like medicinal herbs and things, with the anticipation of bringing them to my piece of land. But that did not happen, and I did have to get rid of my plants. Now, luckily, a nice couple moved in to the house next door to my apartment, and they had started their own little garden there. So I asked them if they would be interested in taking the plants, and they did. They took them, all of the plants, and then I had multiple buckets full of dirt that they could use to fill the raised beds that they were putting in. So I'm glad that they went to good use. My loss was their gain, and I hope that they're able to develop a nice little food forest in their new backyard. So I guess in some ways it was just bittersweet. Somebody's going to enjoy them. Unfortunately, it's not going to be me, but I can start again. So with all of those things done, I got everything moved into my storage unit. Whatever I was taking with me is now in the camper, and I am officially on the road. So one of the things that I found to be really important, because I have a limited amount of power to use for devices and things, is to always have a book on hand. So one of the first things I did in the first week that I was in the camper, was I went down to the thrift store and I bought a couple of books. Now, I didn't go to the library because I don't know where I'm going to be from day to day, and I don't want to not be able to return my library books. And they're really just a few dollars at the thrift store. So I went and I picked up a couple, and here is my first book recommendation, the first book that I read on the road. First book I have read on my camper journey is this one. I picked it because I heard good things about the, an HBO series with Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon, both of whom I like as actors. And it was good. Usually when I read a mystery, I can figure it out pretty early in the story, but this one kept me guessing until the very end. And it has stories about multiple characters. All of them have different types of lifestyles, but they're all experiencing the human experience. So it's written very well, and I very much enjoyed it. So Big Little Lies, check it out.